everybody, Movie Fan Z here. So the movie I'm going to be reviewing for you is the 2024 reimagining of Roadhouse on Amazon Prime. So in this movie, you have Edward Dalton, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who is an ex-UFC fighter who is brought in to work at the Roadhouse in the Florida Keys to try to clean up the mess, but he realizes that it's not the paradise that he thought it was going to be. So this movie is directed by Doug Liman, who has a lot of different credits. He has been the director of movies such as Jumper, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Swingers, uh, Edge of Tomorrow, and American Made. And like I said, you have Jake Gyllenhaal as Edward Dalton. You have Danielle Melchior as Ellie, the love interest. And if she looks familiar, that's because she was Ratcatcher 2 in The Suicide Squad. You also have Billy Magnuson as Ben Brandt, the main villain. You introduce Conor McGregor as Knox, which is, he's kind of like the heavy. You have Jessica Williams, who plays Frankie, who owns the Roadhouse. And finally, you have the sheriff, who kind of works under Ben, played by Joaquin Del Almeida, who was last seen last year in the movie Missing. And I thought he actually should have been nominated for supporting actor. That just didn't happen. So, my thoughts overall is that this is a little bit of a disappointment, and it's a middle of the road movie for me. There's some things I liked, and there's some things I wasn't a huge fan of. Let's start with the negatives, though. I thought most of the cast was just okay in terms of the acting, but kind of one of the biggest negatives is Billy Magnuson. He has charisma, and I thought he was good in terms of the looks of the villain, but I just feel like he doesn't do much for the villain. He plays your typical person in charge with money who wants to destroy everything and build new, if that makes sense. I thought the story was okay. Again, it had a little bit of a reimagining from the classic with Patrick Swayze, but it didn't do a lot to really invigorate me. And finally, I thought the romance. And what I mean by that is it didn't flow, and it didn't seem all that genuine in the movie. It seems like one of those movie romances where it happens so quickly, and it's like there's really no. I mean, there's a little bit of a build up, but there's not much there. Now, as far as positives go, I'm going to shout out both Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor because I felt like they were the best parts of this movie, especially with their characters and how they portrayed them. And then the other big positive I'm going to give is the action. A lot of hand-to-hand combat, but that works for this type of movie, and it definitely was probably the bright spot of this movie. So, in terms of a score, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5. And if you enjoy these reviews, come back next time for another one by hitting that subscribe button so you'll be able to find out when the next one is. And don't forget to hit that like button. But this is my review for 2024's Roadhouse. This is Movie Fantasy signing off. Have a good night.